Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. When emotions run high and history is heavy, the best move isn't throwing hands or words, but drawing clear lines and keeping your sanity intact. Today in the rLounge, peace of mind is the ultimate glow-up. Up first, do you step back into the chaos, or do you slam the door and keep it closed? Am I the a-hole for ghosting my maid of honor after she wore white to my wedding? Last year, I had a small destination wedding at a vineyard in a Mediterranean coastal town. We invited just 20 guests, and we covered a quarter of everyone's travel costs. I also paid in full for all of my bridesmaids' tickets. From the moment we started planning, my maid of honor, Estella, my best friend of over a decade, was a nightmare. She tried to override my decisions, messaged vendors behind my back, and kept inserting herself like she was the one getting married. She even started calling it our big day. Eventually, I snapped and pulled her aside. No, it's my big day, and you need to stop, unless you don't want to be seen at this wedding at all. She looked stunned, but backed off. Or so I thought. As part of the celebration, I planned a 4-day cruise as my bachelorette trip, which also served as our travel to the destination. I paid for everything: the cruise tickets, meals, drinks, excursions, and gifts. I gave each bridesmaid a beautiful emerald pendant. For Estella, my maid of honor, I went further: a $1,200 custom emerald pendant and pearl earrings. The wedding theme was intimate, boho elegance. Our color palette was sage green, terracotta orange, beige, and warm neutrals. The dress code was clear: absolutely no white, ivory, or cream. It was printed on the invitations, in every email, and repeated in our group chat. As a cheeky touch, guests were handed small wine-loaded pistols when they arrived at the venue, a vineyard, as a dress code enforcement tool. The bridesmaids had full-size soakers that could spray a literal stream of red wine. It was only good fun, and also a little insurance. I wore a stunning ivory mermaid gown with a low back and intricate lace, custom designed with aspects of my late grandmother's dress. Her pearl necklace was repurposed into trim for the neckline. It was deeply meaningful to me. Then, Estella showed up in full-length white lace. Tight-fitting, low back, sweetheart neckline. She looked like a second bride. Before I even made it down the aisle, guests were congratulating her. When I confronted her, she smirked and said, "It's boho ivory, calm down." I held my tongue. I just wanted to get through my day. Then, during our first dance, timed with a live string quartet playing a custom arrangement, her boyfriend, one of my husband's groomsmen, stumbled onto stage drunk, cut off the hired vocalist mid-note, grabbed the mic and shouted, "Hey people, to my beautiful girlfriend, I ask, will you take my ring and be my wife?" She screamed yes. People clapped, confused. My husband and I stood there frozen. Later, we learned they had planned it. She knew exactly when our first dance was happening and chose that moment to hijack it. To make it worse, her now fiancé blew past the drink limit, 5 per guest, and managed to have 12 extra drinks, high-end liquor, top-shelf cocktails. The bar tab for just him came out to $260+ before tip, and since we're all well off, we usually tip 40% or more. The final total? Over $360 for one freeloading groomsman. We didn't let that slide. As part of our petty revenge, we had the bar bill, tip and all, sent directly to him. Just a nice little invoice to remember us by. But back to Estella. After the reception, I grabbed one of the bridesmaids' wine soakers and soaked her in red wine. Her platinum-dyed hair turned into a patchy, watery pink-red mess. By morning, she looked like a failed strawberry blonde attempted done by an amateur with expired toner. And we weren't done. She's a notoriously heavy sleeper, so we took her entire suitcase out of her room while she was knocked out. She's brought all of her carefully curated vacation luxury looks, designer outfits, linen sets, vintage pieces, and we dyed every single one. We used unwashable RIT dye, red wine, vineyard mud, and iron-rich water. The result? A blotchy, disgusting reddish-brown and gray nightmare. Her vintage Rimowa suitcase was stained inside and out. The clothes were destroyed, unwearable, stained permanently like they'd been dragged through fermented sewage. She woke up screaming, flailing through the hallway of the Airbnb like a raccoon who'd just lost its winter feast. And the cherry on top? Because we had booked a return flight with our group travel package, we simply canceled her ticket home. She had to scramble to find a new flight and ended up missing the first one while trying to fix her wine-drenched hair at a bus station sink. Later, when our photographer asked if we wanted any edits to the photos, we said, "Yeah, make her dress brown." every single wedding photo now features Estella in what can only be described as a glowing diarrhea shade gown that clashes with our elegant neutral palette. It's immortalized. When we got home from my honeymoon, I texted her one final message. I told her I was hurt, disappointed, and couldn't believe how she disrespected my wedding. I was honest. Her response? "You're being dramatic. No one remembers that kind of stuff. You should be happy for me." So I ghosted her. No screaming, no social media post, just blocked and gone. Haven't spoken to her since. Now mutual friends say I'm cold and holding a grudge, and that she just got caught up in the moment. But all of my bridesmaids? They still bring it up. We laugh over it during wine nights. It's officially become legend. So, am I the a-hole? Updates are brewing if there are any. Showing up in white lace after being repeatedly told not to, hijacking your first dance with a proposal, and blowing past the drink limit? That's not getting caught up in the moment. That's making a series of selfish, calculated choices. And to those mutual friends saying you're being cold, if they ever planned a wedding and had their biggest moments stolen right in front of them, they might understand. You're not holding a grudge. You're maintaining boundaries. She disrespected you at every turn and didn't even have the decency to apologize. Update. Am I the a-hole for ghosting my maid of honor after she wore white to my wedding? I don't know how I forgot to include this in my original post, but something happened 3 months after the wedding that definitely deserves an update. Quick recap. I had a small destination wedding in a vineyard in the Mediterranean. We paid for a quarter of everyone's travel, 20 guests total, and I fully covered my bridesmaids, including a cruise for the bachelorette trip, which also doubled as our way of getting to the wedding. My maid of honor, Estella, ignored our very specific boho neutral dress code and showed up in a full-length white lace dress. Then, right in the middle of our first dance, her boyfriend, aka the drunk slob who was also one of my husband's groomsmen, got up on stage, cut off the live music, and proposed to her. He was absolutely wasted, despite our 5-drink limit. Drunk slob downed at least 12 drinks and ran up a $260+ bar tab, before tip. He slurred his proposal into the mic, and the moment that was supposed to be about me and my husband got hijacked. We didn't take it lightly. Cue the petty revenge. We handed out wine-loaded water pistols, and I fully unloaded mine on her. Her platinum hair turned into a blotchy strawberry mess. Her expensive clothes and designer's luggage dyed permanently with a muddy red-brown mix while she slept. She's a deep sleeper. Our photographer even edited her dress in the photos to a hideous brown shade. After that, I ghosted her completely. Fast forward 3 months. I got a text from an unknown number. It said, "Hey, I know this might be weird, but it's Estella. I just wanted to let you know that Drunk Slob and I are getting married in 5 months. We would love to have you there. I miss you." No apology, no explanation, just a burner number and a casual invite. So now I'm sitting here wondering, should I message her back and say I'll go, maybe just to see what chaos unfolds next? Or do I stay no contact and keep her blocked for good? What would you do? Let's be real. This isn't about reconciliation, it's about image management. She wants you there so she can say, "See, we're all good now," while sweeping her past disasters under the reception rug. What do you think? Up next, after unpacking the layers of trauma, surprise diagnoses, and some seriously solid husband energy, here's the real talk you deserve. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my mom in the delivery room after realizing she's kind of the crazy mother-in-law? This may be a bit long because I need to give as much context as possible, though I am sure I'll still miss some details. After watching so many of Charlotte's videos, I figured you guys would actually give me an honest answer, advice on my situation. So here it goes. I, 21 female, and my husband, 27 male, are expecting our first baby in July. And we're overjoyed. This is our special little rainbow baby. Both sides of our family know about our previous 2 losses, so their support through this pregnancy has meant the world. Everyone's been amazing, except my mom, 60 female. My mom has had this strange belief that I've hated her since I was a baby. Apparently, she had to stop nursing me suddenly due to radiation treatment for a lump in her chest, and she thinks that's why we never got along. I genuinely don't understand how anyone could believe a literal infant could harbor hate, but she does. As a kid, I had behavioral issues for the first 8 years of my life. To my mom, this meant I was just a difficult child, but eventually, we found out I was 60% deaf in both ears. I wasn't acting out, I just couldn't hear or understand her. Thankfully, surgery corrected it, and I was finally able to communicate. But even after that, she still clung to the belief that I just hated her. I spent my entire childhood trying to prove otherwise. When I told her I wanted to study psychology, she responded, "I can be your test subject." and began trauma dumping on me when I was as young as 12. When I got her a job at the daycare I worked at when I was 15, my boss indicated her behavior and even asked how I could be a better parent than the woman who raised me. That really stuck with me. In the middle of 3 sisters, and while we all have issues with our mom, mine seemed to run the deepest. My older sister defends her a lot, despite practically raising us, and my younger sister used to stay quiet to keep the peace. Eventually, all the constant fighting pushed me to create distance. At 18, I moved in with my boyfriend's, now husband's, family. I didn't exactly plan it. I just drove over at 1 a.m. after my mom accused me of being responsible for my own childhood sexual assault, despite the fact that she let a grown man take me to dinner. I couldn't look her in the face for nearly a month. My husband's family welcomed me without question and became the kind, supportive parents I always wished I had. Oddly enough, the space improved our relationship. My mom knew she'd see me less if she kept picking fights, so she behaved better, at least for a while. She even helped with wedding stuff and seemed to try to improve, though she'd still flip-flop between supportive and hurtful. For example, after my wedding, which was beautiful despite a bit of drama, she told me the whole day was a burden for her and that she couldn't enjoy it because she was so stressed, despite the fact that I had a coordinator and had only asked her to enjoy herself. Still, I thought we might actually be reconciling until I got pregnant. This baby was a surprise, and because of our past losses, we wanted to keep it private at first. But my husband is terrible at keeping secrets, and his parents figured it out and asked. He told them, and they were overjoyed. We asked them to keep it quiet until Thanksgiving, when we could tell both sides of the family together. It was perfect. Everyone was there, which never happens. I was 7 weeks along at that point. We knew it was early, but we decided that if we experienced another loss, we wanted the support of our family this time. My father-in-law asked my husband to lead the Thanksgiving prayer and mention the baby. That was our big reveal. Everyone cheered and hugged us. Everyone except my mom. She cried, and I assumed it was from happiness. But later she came up to me and asked how far along I was. When I told her, she replied, "Oh, you probably shouldn't have told anyone yet. You could lose it at any time." I didn't know if she meant to be hurtful, but it stung. My dad tried to defend her, saying she was just worried about me grieving, but deep down, I knew she wasn't happy for me. Honestly, I think she was upset that my older sister wasn't the one having the first grandbaby, and that she wasn't the first in the know. Throughout my first trimester, she made passive-aggressive comments, but by the second trimester, it seemed to ease up. I figured maybe she was just disappointed, and I let it go. Then came the gifts. This is something my mom does when she feels like she's lost me. She tries to buy my love back. She doesn't have the money, but she started showering me with little gifts, big ones, and taking me out to lunch constantly. She'd sneak presents into my apartment, and while I was always grateful, it left me feeling incredibly guilty. She'd also make comments like, "You've placed me with your mother-in-law," even though I barely mentioned my mother-in-law around her. Now that I'm less than 2 months from my due date, I asked my mother-in-law to help plan my baby shower. She respects my wishes and understands boundaries. To keep the peace, I let my mom handle something small, like allergen-friendly foods. But I don't even know if that was the right call. My mom has been making passive-aggressive comments to my mother-in-law, who thankfully is unbothered. She's dealt with toxic relatives before. And now, I'm starting to think I don't want her in the delivery room. In Texas, only 2 people are allowed in. One will be my husband, obviously, but the other? I truly want my mother-in-law. She brings me peace. When I'm overwhelmed and panicking, she's always known the right thing to say. She's gentle, calming, and supportive. I'd even consider having my younger sister in the room before my mom. She's recently found her voice and has been helping me call out our mom's behavior. She's a source of peace and strength. I know not inviting my mom will break her heart, but I'm scared she'll make the delivery stressful by criticizing me, like she has the entire pregnancy. I want someone by my side who will tell me I'm doing a good job and that everything will be okay, not someone who will make me feel like I'm failing. So, would I be the a-hole if I didn't have my mom in the delivery room? And how should I break it to her? Your mom sounds like the kind of person who believes emotional manipulation counts as a love language, and that trauma dumping on a 12-year-old builds character. Honestly, the fact that she once blamed you, a literal child, for your own sexual assault is enough to earn her a one-way ticket to never seeing the inside of that delivery room. And her response to your pregnancy announcement, saying you might lose the baby at any time, is a hell of a way to say congrats. Update. I talked everything through with my husband, who's literally the best, and said anyone who gets in the way of my comfort can suck his butt. My dad and my in-laws. And I think we came up with the best plan to keep the peace while also creating healthy distance. But first, some new context. I recently found out my mom was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in her 20s, but she stopped taking medication when she got pregnant with my older sister and never resumed, claiming she had been healed. Whether that's denial or religious delusion, I don't know. It doesn't make her a bad mom inherently, but looking back, it makes a lot of her behavior make more sense, especially the very hard swings between great mom and trauma mom. What really hit me though, my dad didn't even know I was sexual assaulted as a child. Apparently my mom lied and hid it from him. He just found out yesterday, and he didn't know that my mom had essentially enabled it. When I told him, he was horrified and immediately apologized for not protecting me. He's now 100% on my side regarding the delivery room and anything I choose to do regarding boundaries with my mom moving forward. That conversation healed a piece of me I didn't even know was still broken. As whether it's normal for moms to expect to be in the delivery room, maybe it's cultural since my mom's whole family is like that. I was also homeschooled my whole life with no co-ops, no high school, nothing. So I had almost no outside examples of how other families function. Honestly, reading your comments made me realize just how not normal a lot of my childhood was. Now, about the delivery. I talked to my in-laws, and they brought up something that many of you also pointed out, that choosing someone else over my mom, like my mother-in-law or my sister, would create a lot of unnecessary drama between my mom and me, and between the two sides of the family. My husband's family comes from a culture where maintaining family harmony is super important, and they've helped me see that there is a middle ground between cutting her off completely and letting her steamroll me. My father-in-law even offered to help guide me through this, since he had a difficult parent too. His first suggestion was really helpful, to create a group text with both sides of the family and share my expectations and boundaries for after the baby is born, so that everyone is clear on what I want, and I can help hold my mom and each other accountable. So after thinking it through, my husband and I made a decision that feels peaceful and empowering. I'm not having anyone else in the delivery room, just me and my husband. This is our moment. My husband brings me peace, and I don't want to be worrying about someone else's reactions or tiptoeing around my mom's feelings during the most important and vulnerable moment of my life. Thank you to everyone who commented. You helped me realize I'm not crazy or ungrateful or cruel for wanting peace during this time. I deserve that. My baby deserves to be born into that. I will update everyone after baby girl is here to let everyone know how it really played out. And maybe before that, if my mom does something crazy and causes our relationship to truly be over. Honestly, this whole update feels like a deep exhale. I'm so glad you had those conversations, especially with your dad. That had to be heavy as hell, but hearing him say he's on your side and actually apologizing, that's a healing moment most people never get. Can we just pause for a sec to appreciate how you basically raised yourself and still managed to break cycles? As for the delivery room, you made the right call. You're about to push a human out of your body, not host a family reunion. This is your moment. What do you think? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time. And please put your chair back where you found it.